I may lose a couple of you on this video, and that's okay. I just wanted to talk about the Jujutsu Kaisen movie again from a different perspective, from Goto's perspective, just primarily because when he healed that girl that came in with that like cursed item, the cursed being that was on her shoulder, and it's just like, hey, do you ever feel like these types of things? I don't want to say the things because YouTube's not going to work out for me if I do say it. I will say one thing or one aspect from it because I can say a couple of things, but I won't be able to say one word, and the word that you know is the word that I won't be able to say, which means that, like, do you ever feel like tired or lethargic, or you can't feel like you can sleep all that much, or like you just feel like there's somebody watching you all the time, and not in a good way, because they're like, we're always being supported, we're always being helped, we're always being watched in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes it might not feel like a good way, where other times it will feel like a good way. This is an insight or a sight that very few people have, and I'm going to make another video on this as well too, so you'll want to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, just because you can get some weird, like, little esoteric, metaphysical manifestation, belief coaching, mindset coaching, perspective shifts from this channel. So I just want to relay that to you if that is something that you're interested in learning a little bit more about. Because all these movies and shows, as we know, they have deeper meanings to them, and it's just a matter of becoming aware of them, because once you're aware of them, then all of a sudden, every single problem that you've ever had or issue that you've ever been presented with starts to become healed, cured, and presented in a new way. So what we notice is when the girl goes to see Gojo, she has this like pain or thing on her shoulder, but she's not physically aware of being able to see it. And I've had this exact same thing happen to myself as well too. So like I've always had like a deep pain in my right shoulder. Like it would always hurt. Like whenever I go to the gym, like I'd be like, oh, this is painful. This is excruciating. And like me being able to do flat bench was never something that I could do, because like I had this like weird pain in my shoulder, and like I'd get massages all the time, and I'd be like, this will help. It never really helped. The crazy thing is, and this is where I said that I might lose some people, when I did finally get healed, when I finally had my shoulder pain be gone, I remember like I was walking, I was just like, wow, what? Like, and I'm stretching I'm like waving my arm up and down right now, like moving it around. And I was like, how did that work? Because what I ended up doing was I went to this college campus. For some other reason, I was called to go to this college campus. I went to this college campus. I saw this girl sitting down there with like a blanket or a towel. She was like doing tarot card reading things, and which is really cool. Like if you've never had that type of work done, by all means, I have people that I can connect you with if that is something that you are wanting to learn a little bit more about or have your reading done. I've found a lot of people that are very good at it, some people that are so at it. That's also just like a tool that you can do, but like everybody's doing it in the way that they need to do it to present the information in the way that they want to present it. So when Gojo was able to like suck the soldier, like the curse off of her shoulder with the power that he uses from his cursing, from his like jujitsu power, that was something that this woman did with me. And she's like, hey, what do you want? Like, she had like a couple of different services that she had. And then one of them was like, it was a cleansing ritual or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly, which I am. And what she did was basically, it's like, I gave her some cash. And then she's like, okay, like, take off your shoes, like, stand here in the grass. And I was like, all right. And I'm standing here. And she's like, all right, choose an egg from this, like, she had like eggs there, which is weird. I don't know. I believe eggs, at least from what one of my other friends was telling me, was like eggs are able to like maintain or capture things because they're single embryos, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's just an interesting way of being able to capture energy in a new area that you didn't originally have. And she's like doing this whole thing. Like once I pick the egg, I'm like, all right, here you go. She does like this. She says these words that I don't necessarily understand, but like not physically, but like internally, like intrinsically, I know that this is true. And I have another story that I can also relate to this, like being able to pick up on things that aren't necessarily like there, but you can kind of just like tap into things. It's a trip. It's super fun. It's super exciting. It's one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced, because it's like, I just know. And then I look at my phone, I'm like, boom, oh, look, there's a message. It's crazy. But nonetheless, back to what I was talking about. So she grabs this egg and she's like rubbing it all over me. She's saying these words, and then like she says like all this cool stuff like around my head, like around my face, my forehead, my neck, like all over my body. She goes on my left side and like she says all these things, and then she goes over to my right side and she's like, "Ooh, there's something there." I'm like, "How do you like what? I've never even met you before, and you're telling me that there's like how did you know this?" And it baffled me with how she knew that. And she says all these things. She says all this other stuff. She like rubs it all over. She tells me to lift up my feet. I lift up my other foot, and she's like, "Oh, there's a spider." And if you guys don't know anything about spiders, there's this concept where spiders are basically all right, we'll do it this way. So I had, growing up, there was a spider in this bush in the house that I had, and I would always go out and I'd find like little bugs and creatures to feed to the spider. It was a web weaver, and it would just like sit in the middle of the web, just kind of like I do now. And hopefully maybe I can get you to this point as well too. So if this is something that you want to do, I do have a coaching that I am offering to you. It's a free 30-minute session down below. I said this in a couple of other videos. I'm just going to be tossing it out there. Just toss it out there. If you want to take it, cool. If not, like no worries. There's a spider in the bush that I ended up having there, and what he would do was like he would just be in the middle like waiting. I'd toss a bug in there. Then all of a sudden he'd run to the thing and like he'd like grab the bug. He'd wrap it all up. He'd eat the bug, and he'd do the same thing. So like now that I'm more in tuned and I can help you get it more in tuned as well too. And I know that maybe you'd be like, this isn't related to anime at all, but like it is, because like these characters, these creatures, like they know the places that they have to be able to defeat the enemies that they need to defeat. And we might do another episode on the first episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, like with him knowing that this is the thing that he had to do to be able to get it into the place, because he was the first person in 1,000 years. We'll touch on that later. I probably will. But like being able to be in the place that you need to be in at the right time when you need to be there is why there's a spider underneath my foot. And some of you might be like, no, that's just crazy. That's just that's just a coincidence. And it very well could be. Or every single time that I've ever been in the places that I need to be when something significant ends up happening, there's a spider like right on the window, or there's a spider like somewhere. Like, and it's crazy because spiders, they notice the vibrations of the earth. And if we go under the concept or the precognition that everything is just consciousness itself, then we can start to touch on the correct vibrations and go to where we need to go in the times that we need to go there in. And sometimes it's just a waiting game. And I'll do another episode too, actually on Boomy as well too, because he did the same thing in Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I'll touch on that here in a second on the next video that will be coming out in a couple of days. I think this is a great part, you guys. Like when I talk, when I communicate, I come up with all these different ideas. This is how I verbalize. This is how I get my ideas out. Sometimes writing helps out a lot as well too, but I've always found that me being able to communicate and talk in the present moment without a script, just like ramble, it's not even really a ramble because it is valuable, has helped me a lot more than just like trying to sit down and like create something out of that, because like to me that just doesn't work. This works better for me. But I also did years and years of writing to get up to this point, along with years of meditation and journaling and all this like amazing other incredible things like reading books and talking with strangers and all this other stuff, which is great. So what I'm trying to get at, and what I have gotten at this entire video, is sometimes the energies or the reasons why you have certain pains in your body might not necessarily be because they are the reasons why you think they are. There might be certain energy blocks. There might be certain blockages within yourself. You might be having a curse on your shoulder that you didn't even know that you had until you end up going to see a mystic of some way, shape, or form. And then that mystic's able to heal you by taking the energy out of you, because they see things that you yourself don't see, because everybody's able to see different things that they have not originally been able to see. So somebody else comes in and it's like, hey, I'm going to heal you in this way because I've been able to spend all these different years, and now all of a sudden I can pick up on these small little subtleties that weren't originally there. And now that we can pick up on these small little subtleties, all of a sudden now we have this whole different world that we never even knew existed. And then all of a sudden we get to learn even more and grow even more and experience even more, all because we ended up going to see this different person. If we never would have gone to see that different person, maybe we'd always still have the shoulder pain. So that's why I say, like, if you have pain, if you have some sort of like struggle, like there's a reason why these animes present the ideas and the concepts in the way that they do, is because, and this is something that I need to drive home to you, is because they are based somewhat in some version of reality. Might not be your version of reality, could be their version of reality, but you can shift into that new version of the reality if that is something that you yourself want to do. You have to be the one that decides that. I'm only here to guide you. I'm only here to ask you the questions. I'm only here to provide or remove certain blocks or energies or questions or limiting beliefs that you have, so that you can start to manifest your desires, so that you can start to create the world that you want to create, so that you can create something that you could never have imagined creating in the first place. With that being said, there's unseen forces that you are not able to be necessarily aware of, and that's why these videos only reach the people that they need to reach, because not everybody's at the same frequency, not everybody's at the same level of understanding, not everybody gets these concepts in the ways that I do. But I think about these things a lot because it's just cool seeing, like, why are we watching the show? Because there's probably some aspect of the show that we ourselves resonate with, and the more that we resonate with the show, the better off we're going to be. So if you guys are interested in that, if you want to have your shoulder healed or pain healed or whatever it is that you want to have healed, be open to new ideas of healing. Be open to new ways of providing value or receiving value, because you don't always have to go down the route of having to take some medicine or having to go to this like doctor or whatever it is to heal you. Like, you can just go to somebody that works on energy and is able to clear the blockages out of you, because once you do that, you'll see that like there's a whole new world that exists outside of you. Because like I said, I just remember like walking out and I was like, how did she do that? How did she know that there was like something there? And I was tripping out, bro. I was tripping out. And now I'm just like, I've experienced so many other things that just prove this stuff to be true. And you could be like, oh, that's just a cognitive bias. Maybe it is. I don't see it that way, because I've experienced more things than I could ever have imagined experiencing in this past like year, taking off time and like figuring out my own self-inquiries and things like that. So if you want to figure out yourself, if you want to figure out more of who you are so that you can do what you have been put here to do, schedule a call, keep watching my videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.